As you might expect from the name, we primarily represent clients who have First Amendment issues, and they usually fall into two groups of people. One of them are clients who have First Amendment claims, so perhaps they were arrested for protesting at some kind of demonstration. And then the second group of clients are people who have First Amendment defenses.
We also do some public policy work. We have been involved in lobbying efforts here in North Carolina, also in South Carolina, related to anti-SLAPP issues, which sort of dovetails with what Sarah was talking about. That is, people who've been sued when they really shouldn't have because what they did was protected speech. Some states, most states, have laws that prevent that, but we don't have that here in North Carolina. So that's one issue that we've been interested in. It's in addition to the litigation.
I am primarily directly involved with supervising and mentoring the students who are in the clinic. So Amanda and I co-teach the clinic seminar for introductory clinic students. And in addition to that, we very, very closely coach and supervise the lawyering that students do. So all of our students, of course, are certified under the North Carolina Student Practice Rule. And that rule specifies that they can practice law, but that it has to be under the supervision of a licensed attorney.
A lot of the benefit of a clinic is getting that one-on-one work so that students have the chance not just to work with clients and really get to use the information and the skills that they're learning, but also to hopefully kind of learn what it means to be a lawyer. And so one of our goals as we work with the students in that very close connection is so that they see what it looks like to hopefully be an effective lawyer, an ethical lawyer, a diligent lawyer, hopefully a friendly lawyer. They see us working with opposing counsel. They get to work with opposing counsel. And so it's really that close relationship that makes the clinic great. And so, like Sarah, through the week, through the semester, that's what we're doing with the students.
Mostly students start at some point in their second or third year. And the student practice rule says students have to have completed at least one full year of law school before they can be certified interns. Mostly it's going to be in the spring semester of your second year or at some point in your third year. And also we typically hire 2 interns every summer. So if you're an entering student right now and you're interested in working for the clinic over the summer, keep an eye out for a job posting in about February.
Almost all the students are going to have a certain amount of research and writing, whether it's answering questions that the team has about a case, where it might be going, what strategies we might have. But one of the things that the students like most is the chance to really work with our clients because they are doing the work. The students are doing the work and we're just making sure that it's right. They get the chance to meet with clients, to go back and forth, to work with them, both developing strategy, working on drafts, things like that. And so for a lot of students, this is the first time that they've had that chance. And so it's really a window into that is terrific.
So we do spend a lot of time advising clients, say, for example, who've gotten takedown notices to try to help avoid a lawsuit. We also sometimes will draft complaints, but try to work with the potential opposing party to make sure that we don't have to file that lawsuit to see if we can get a negotiated settlement. So there are also opportunities to work on, investigating facts and defenses and mediating and negotiating fruitful settlements, that are good for both sides. So just thinking back on the last year, we had students participating in client intake and interviewing clients, getting and developing the facts in the story, fact-checking the client, drafting a complaint, sending the complaint to opposing counsel before it's filed to see if we can negotiate a settlement instead of resorting to litigation. We would do a trial if we had to, but fortunately, we're usually able to resolve most cases before a trial. And certainly if it comes to it, we have written and won appeals in the North Carolina Court of Appeals. And every year we usually write some kind of amicus brief in an interesting case that's pending, usually in the Fourth Circuit or perhaps in the Supreme Court.
When I think back over the last year, one of the experiences that stands out to my mind as being one of the best was a hearing that we had in Wake County, and practically everyone in the clinic was coming together to get ready for this hearing. We had a team who were putting together what we call trial notebooks, so the notebook we were going to hand up to witnesses and to the judge. We had 2 students who were going to participate in the hearing, and so one of them was at home working on questions because he was going to actually question a witness on the witness stand, and another student who was working on closing arguments. I thought it was great because it really gave that hands-on experience, and our students are unbelievably cooperative, which just warms my heart to see that they are really, really there and helping each other when they need to.
So I'm going to go back a little further in time, and I think one of my favorite experiences was actually during the pandemic. 2 students argued in favor of a motion to compel discovery, and they had to do this, through video conference with a judge in South Carolina. So it was a little bit nerve-wracking to prepare for that, but they did a great job in the argument. And or at least I thought so, when opposing counsel stepped up to argue, he criticized the students for their argument. And in his closing remarks, the judge criticized the opposing counsel and wrote an order that actually, in published now in the U.S. reports, there's a footnote that praises the job that the students did, specifically by name. And I was so proud of my students for putting on a great argument and maintaining their composure, and grateful to the judge for recognizing everything they accomplished.
One of the things we've talked about is trying to get, for want of a better term, a network of First Amendment clinic alumni, because there's a lot of this work that is out there. There are a lot of new or recently started news organizations that don't have access to lawyers and they need help. And so our students are positioned well to do that pro bono work. So even for the ones who don't go off to do media law, there are a lot of opportunities to stay doing a little bit of it in pro bono service. So one of the things we've talked about is trying to further that and get some sort of way of referring cases when we hear about them. Because of course our students go all over. We have, students going to New York, DC, California, just everywhere. And so once they've learned these skills, they can continue to use them in pro bono work, even if they're going to work for a big corporate law firm.